Yeah, Matt, you can always tell when you've got a coach who's got 5 returning starters, his top 3 reserves coming back. There's a little more relaxed smile on the face of Matt Brady now in his 8th season in Harrisonburg. And it's got to be a good feeling. I know we've talked about it with a number of other coaches. It was a young CAA last year. Your team had no seniors, right?
Yeah, no seniors. We started 1 junior, 3 sophomores, and a freshman, and we only have 1 other senior this year. So Ron Carey and Winston Grays are 2 lone seniors and providing all the leadership that we've asked them to do so far.
You mentioned Ron Curry, and it seemed like as the season went on, he assumed a greater leadership role. What did you see in his involvement as a real complete player last season?
Well, we continue to see it. He wants to be the leader of this particular team, and I think as our team has evolved last year, playing so many young players, that he was excited about leading. And he's a very quiet guy by nature, but when it became apparent that it was his team and solely his team, he was really excited about that. And he led this team, in the locker room, which is what you always need. All coaches need locker room presences. And Ron was that for us, not just on the court, but off the court.
Well, I was going to ask you about a young man you got from Butler right now. I mean, he's pretty good. I'm going to let you introduce him and tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, so Devontae Morgan was a young guy from Florida that was recruited by Brad Stevens in Brad Stevens' last recruiting class to Butler University before he left to take the Celtics job. And he was a guy that was in the rotation under Brad at Butler. And then when Brad left to go to the Celtics, he played 1 more year on the new staff and then came to us and sat last year out. Devontae is a dynamite defensive basketball player. He's a lockdown defensive guard. He can guard really 1, 2, and 3 in this league. We're playing him offensively at 2 different positions. He's still getting better, I think, in terms of shooting. But his willingness to defend is at the highest level.
As a broadcaster, it's always interesting to find unique stories, and I don't think there's a more unique story not only in the CAA, but maybe all of college basketball, than Yohanni Dalembert. For those who don't know, never had played basketball in his native Haiti, and then now a little more than 5 years ago, the tragic earthquake that happened. He's the half-brother of Samuel Dalembert, who used to play for the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA, moved to Philadelphia, and that's really where he picked up basketball. And to watch his development from his freshman year to his sophomore year was truly staggering.
Right, we took Yohanni as a guy that we thought we could help get better as a basketball player, a little bit of a project, and he literally was in that earthquake in Haiti that killed over 200,000 people. And 3 days after the earthquake, he was living with his brother in Philadelphia, who at the time was with the Sixers. Walks into the gym at Lower Merion, now his new high school, and picks up a basketball for the first time and dunks it. And for a long time, that's about all he could do. But he's remarkably evolved as a basketball player, and he's really invested in his own individual game. And he's a tremendous teammate. So we really feel like we've got a great basketball player for
But
Jamie.
what have you seen? I mean, how has he developed? It's unbelievable to think that you can go from literally not playing the game to being where he is right now. Where have you seen that develop?
He really kind of struggled as a freshman. And, at the beginning of his sophomore year, we had some conversations. And what I told him that he needed to focus on was not being a power player or not being a finesse player, but really he's got a Charles Barkley-like game in terms of it's a combination of speed and power that makes him unique and very difficult to guard, because most post players at any level are one or the other. You're either tall and lanky or you're somewhat small and undersized and powerful. What he is 6'8", and really powerful, but as much as anything, he's really quick. So that makes him really hard to guard. And we've stretched his game. We're going to let him shoot some perimeter jump shots, not a lot,
Not a lot.
but we've let him stretch his game a little bit.
And I know he's developed a great friendship with another junior in Jackson Kent, and that you kind of 2 gym rats together, right?
Yeah, they're inseparable. If you didn't know better, you'd think they're brothers. They're long-lost cousins or something, but they're inseparable. They're great friends. They're both gym rats. They're always in the convocation center and they play a lot of one-on-one together, and they play a lot of a lot of FIFA basketball on the computer.
How about Jackson's game and what you expect from him this year?
Well, I think Jackson, the one thing Jackson's done is he's gotten stronger each year physically. He came in at 170 pounds. He's now over 200 pounds as a junior, so he was remarkably thin as a freshman, had some terrific freshman games, was a key part to our team last year. I think he's one of the better shooters in our league. What he needs to become is tougher at both ends, and Jackson, with this newfound strength, is a far more physical player, and he's never going to be the most physical guy, but he's certainly more tough than he was, and that's the thing that we keep harping on with Jackson.
Matt, I've asked all the coaches, and I think it's an interesting fact. We got some pace of play rules changes this year, primarily the 30-second clock. How's this going to affect your team?
Well, it's interesting. We played in postseason play last year. We felt the effects of that clock winding down and the ball literally being in the wrong person's hands. And so we've spent a lot of time talking about it. We've talked about it with coaches that played in the postseason last year with a short clock. And we're prepared to make sure the ball gets in the right players' hands, particularly your guards, or with big guys on the elbows or isolations. But you want to play fluidly. You want to play open. Certainly my teams like to play that way. But in the last 7 or 8 seconds of the shot clock, you got to make sure you have good players with the ball.
Do you think we're going to see a lot of people using full court presses now, especially with the change in the 10-second rule?
You know, I've heard that repeatedly from coast to coast. Talked with a West coach yesterday, a head coach from the West Coast, and they're doing it 2-2-1 or 1-2-1-1 or what have you, and then you're flowing back into some zone. I don't know that in January everybody's going to do that. I do think all coaches are doing that to try and stay ahead of this curve. But at some point, you've got to be comfortable with how you want your team to play. We're certainly going to go up the floor and try and do some things full court. I've always wanted to do it. We just haven't always had the amount of players to do it.
There won't be a lot of resetting anymore.
No, exactly. Not for us.
Matt, thank you so much. Good luck this season.
Thanks, guys.
Matt Brady, the head basketball coach for the men's side at James Madison University.